So welcome back. Today I wanted to show you a stove that's been around for a long time. I believe probably since about 1986 is when this stove was first created. It's called the Sierra Zip Stove, and it's got a fan on it. So it makes it about I believe the only stove in the little wood burning stoves has a fan, and there you can see it. That's low, that's high. So it works like a blacksmith forge. It blows the air between the two layers of this, and it blows the air around on the bottom. So it makes for a very, very hot fire. And I first saw this stove in use on a 2-week backpacking trip. It's a cold, cold, rainy day. And the only other people we saw the whole trip happened to be that day. And they had a big tarp set up and waved us into camp and said, come on in, have a cup of coffee. And this is the stove they were using. And we were absolutely impressed with how fast this guy would boil the water. It was as fast as our MSR white gas stoves, which were the pinnacle stove at that time. And frankly, in my opinion, the MSR is still hands down the best stove. Anyway, this thing's very fast. It weighs 1 pound, so it's a little heavy. There is a possibility, I suppose, that motor could go out on you. And if it did, what you'd have to do is raise this up on something to open up that vent in the bottom there. And it would still work as a wood-burning stove. It just would not work like a blacksmith's forge. It would be not quite as hot, but you'd still be able to cook on it. It has an adequate cooking surface for larger pots, but it's also small enough that it can handle, I believe, an MSR or some of the smaller sets designed for the canister stoves. The other stove that I'm going to play around with is the Sterno. I bought this at Goodwill for 99 cents. And everybody's always trying to get real jiggy with these firebox stoves and stuff. And frankly, here it is. I mean, this stove is going to do just as well as anything, I believe. I mean, it's not going to be a rocket stove like some of these are supposed to be, super fast, but sometimes speed is important and sometimes it's not. If you're cooking with alcohol, you're not worried about being speedy, that's for sure, because it isn't going to be fast. But you can cook with a alcohol stove, a cat food can, or the Trangia, I believe it's pronounced, or one of these types of things. You could have it for a backup, and the rest of the time, if it's not storming bad or whatever, you could do this in a tent vestibule or something, and then the rest of the time just build a fire in this and use it as a wood stove. And it's actually quite compact. I have messed around with this stove with these, and I mean it takes a while, but 7 ounces, very small carry weight. You put it in like a cloth bag to keep everything clean, and I actually think that this has some real possibilities. Anyway, thanks for joining me here.